When you get the Carhartt pants and the Spider-Man shirt on, you know it's about to get real. Cool, nice fresh filter. What I'm doing today, guys, is an oil change on my Yamaha Bolt, and it got me thinking, this thing requires such little maintenance, and there's a lot of reasons why I think that cruisers are arguably the best bikes that you can get. Now, before everyone gets all crazy on me and crucifies me in the comment section, let me explain why. Just hear me out. We're gonna start with the low-hanging fruit first, guys, which is obviously gonna be the fact that these bikes are incredibly comfortable to ride. Now, I'm gonna show some pics of the seating position and how that all looks. This bike in particular, my Yamaha Bolt, is not really a bike that's meant for going hundreds and hundreds of miles in one sitting. It's more of a city commuter, kind of a mid-sized cruiser, if you will, just shy of 950 cc's. That being said, it still beats the 300s, the 600s, the leader bikes, in my opinion. Now, have I ridden those bikes hundreds of miles in one trip? No, but go to a shop and just sit down on one and tell me how the seating position of that compares to what you're seeing right now. And I'd be willing to bet that this is going to be a lot more comfortable for longer rides. And I think at the end of the day, everyone likes a little bit of comfort. Obviously, if you're over at the track, a sport bike or something relative to that is gonna be a lot more cool. There are naked sport bikes, there are more upright seating positions on other bikes like that could be more comfortable. All I'm saying is, hey, there are plenty of cruisers out there. They're designed to feel like just a couch that has a bunch of torque. That's why I'm really seeing this as the low-hanging fruit. This bike, no one's gonna really dispute that these are incredibly comfortable, if not the most comfortable class of bike that you could have. They're very approachable. I'm 5'9", so I'm not tiptoed, I'm not stressed out with that. And for all my short kings out there, you know what I'm talking about. We need bikes like this out there. I could already hear you guys in the comment section talking about how these things are slow and they're not that fun. Here's the trade-off that you're not really thinking about. And it's the fact that the maintenance intervals are so wide and so much easier to bear compared to other more high-performance bikes. Let me explain. I don't know about you guys, I like working on my bike, but I don't like working on it on an hourly basis. I like working on it on a thousands of miles basis compared to other very high performance bikes. Getting great performance out of your bike is awesome. It's really cool. That's why I have that thing over there. But when the interval for doing your oil is now boiled down to hours and not miles, that is a lot more work, effort, time, money that you're gonna be putting into that. And unless you're someone who's getting paid to do this stuff, a lot of people don't have time or money to handle all that stuff. So what am I getting at? I'm getting at the fact that this bike is so easy to maintain. I've had 10,000 miles on it, just somewhere in 9,000 and change, just shy of 10,000 miles on it. And all I've had to do is just feed it oil. Now, it's 10 years old. There's a very slight fork leak. There's a valve check that's gonna be needed in the next like 6,000 miles. But other than feeding it oil every 3,000 miles or every 6 months, there's not really much else I have to do here. And it's been running like a champ. Knock on wood. That's a really big one. You have a lack of power if you compare it to other sport bikes, sure. But on the flip side, you don't have to worry about it. You just run the machine, feed it oil, and keep having fun. And to me, that's a really great package to have when you get hit with car registration, bike registration, all the insurance, all the good stuff that you have to pay for it on a day-to-day basis. For real life people, I think these bikes are very approachable when it comes to actually running it daily and having a cost associated with that. Now look, what if I told you going slow is actually a pro about this bike? Here's what I mean by that. The big thing with motorcycles, I've covered this in another video, is the fact that so many deadly injuries or injuries in general are caused by riders lacking the discipline to ride their bike safely, ride it responsibly, wear the correct gear, etc., etc. Now, what if I said that this actually forces you to go slow? And by forcing you to go slow, you actually are naturally going to be a safer rider. That's also a strategic reason as to why I got this bike. Sometimes people who don't know bikes, they look at it and they're like, oh, do you just blast down the highway going 100 miles per hour? And my response is, I'm lucky to hit 95 ever on this thing going downhill. This bike really does not like going above 80-ish miles per hour on a sustained route. And that keeps me responsible. I've ridden sport bikes in the past and I've ridden naked sport bikes, other stuff relative to that. And it is so hard as a guy to block off that caveman energy that you get when you twist the throttle, you hear a bike like that, and you start going above 100 miles per hour. You know how hard it is to govern that? It's incredibly difficult. That's why I'm saying shift your perspective a little. The speed on this isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's something where you can still learn to enjoy the ride, enjoy this bike, and still be safe on the road, or at least as safe as possible without getting yourself into too much trouble. Because you literally can't. Like I said, this thing's slow, all right? So I see it as a pro, you may see it as a con. We can agree to disagree. It's all good. I don't think I did it justice on the maintenance interval part. I'm gonna put a screenshot of all the maintenance interval stuff relative to my Yamaha Bolt, and you could just see how widespread this is compared to other bikes. And I'll also put maybe a KTM or something out there just to draw a hyperbolic example of how crazy maintenance can be on certain bikes. And I'm gonna leave you guys with one final thing for this. Okay, now my fanboy rant about why cruisers are so great is gonna be capped off with the fact that if you are potentially taken or off the market, it's actually perfect for if you have a secondary passenger. Now, one of the fun things about riding, right, is sharing the experience. And even on a small mid-sized bike like this, hopefully I don't eat, I can hop on this bike 2 up, and is it like sitting on a Tempur-Pedic? No, but this with a backrest and having this there for my wife versus being on a sport bike or being on a naked sport bike or something relative to that class, or ADV bikes, maybe you have me there. You know, that's probably just as comfortable, if not more comfortable than this. But cruisers, for how cheap they are and how easy it is to get on into a platform like this and then ride 2 up on it, it's pretty awesome. Now, again, this is built for smaller people, if you will. So if your BMI is above 40, you may have a bad time. That being said, guys, I want to know what you think about cruisers as a whole. I think this section of bike does not get a lot of love in general. It needs more love because Harley guys keep ruining it for us, but I'm trying to fight back with my Yamaha Bolt here. Whatever class of bike you're thinking of, tell me why you think it might be better than this one here. Tell me why you think I might be right in this argument. I would love to hear your guys' comments in the section below. Stay tuned for more bike content, more 4Runner content, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.